Then Brian sticks it in his mouth and does the same thing. I'm like, dude, you realize how much radiation you are ingesting right
whatever,
now?
Yeah.
Like, diabetes is going to be your least concern by the end of this.
Your tongue is going to fall off tomorrow. Hello and welcome back to the 181st episode of Good Bad Media LLC, where shareable movies, television, TV, your host, Mr. Brian Shilligo, joined once again by Mr. Kyle Hinton. Kyle, how did you find this movie?
Just looked up some sci-fi films through IMDb, and this one popped up.
Holy cow! You stumbled upon something insane. This is a wild one. I can't wait. We're just gonna get right into it. 9 minutes into this movie, Kyle, I had an entire page of notes.
Everything about the setup for this film is just insane.
I will not allow him to enslave my people.
It's insane. It's insane. So we're going to get right into it. The film we're talking about today is 1997's
Stargames, which has very little to do with games.
No, it has almost nothing. In retrospect, now that I think about it, has almost nothing to do with games. And because they're definitely setting it up like a war games.
Yeah,
like
I was honestly
thing.
Thinking either like the Last Star, was it Last Star Child or something like that?
Last Starfighter?
Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
Star Child Kiss.
Yeah.
the Kiss Starfighter crossover.
Yeah, Last Star Child, yeah.
That or like Ender's Game.
Yeah, or like I said, or war games or something like that, where you were thinking that the fact that this kid plays video games was going to matter in like the plot in some way, and it absolutely does not.
Damn it! I totally forgot something. I was gonna bring my Sega Genesis or my Sega Game Gear. I have a Sega Game Gear.
That would have been a great gag. You could have been like, and I'd be like, Kyle,
I know.
We gotta do the review.
So, spoiler, one of the kids has a Sega Game Gear, and he is the coolest motherfucker on the planet because a Sega Game Gear took 6 AA batteries and lasted for about 2 hours.
Yes.
But it was awesome.
Color. Hey, there's an easier way to get color. Get a Game Gear.
As we open into the movie, the opening from moment one, the opening title card is incredible. It's like this weird, it's all CG, but like, 97 computer generated graphics. Where it's like Galaga or something. There's like the title comes in and there's these little and the spaceships in this movie. Some of them look like spaceships, but most of them are like marbles. And I don't know what is that.
It just looks like it vomited itself out of the Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, I guess a little bit, but like specifically but there are some spaceships, but again, the bad guy Lugos or whatever the fuck his name is.
He's in like a spaceship.
Yes,
and then it explodes and turns into a marble.
Yeah, and shoots out other little marbles that attack things. I don't understand what's going on with that, but we jump right in, and this movie has an opening voiceover from the kid. And I hate hating on children's performances.
Okay.
But oh my god, this kid's voiceover in particular is atrocious.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
I live on a planet called Arascon. We have a space star shield that protects our planet.
But he explains that he is the prince. His name is Varric.
Varuk, the Magnificent.
The king is also my grandfather. That makes me a prince. My name is Varuk.
He is the grandson of the king, King Fendel, played by Tony Curtis.
I just wanted to come up here and say, I'm the king of this place, all right? I got my grandson here, and we're taking a little vacation.
He reaches across the stars to our very homeland.
It killed me. I was like, is that Tony Curtis? I could tell. You know what they were doing? They were going for a Brando in Superman kind of thing is what they were going for.
Brando's accent, weird as it is, comes across otherworldly in a certain way.
Right.
Which kind of works for Jarrell.
And he's Brando. But it's just...
It's suicide. No, it's worse. It's genocide.
It was just I was like, that's clearly what they're going for here. Like, because he's like the wise older king or whatever, I think of like the way Tony Curtis speaks. He's going to start breaking your kneecaps with a baseball bat. Yes, absolutely. It's fantastic.
Every intelligent creature deserves a chance to surrender.
But we we jump in and he's explaining like he lives on this planet. He says planet, but it looks like a space station kind of thing that he says has these shields to protect them or whatever. And then meanwhile inside, King Findle, played by Tony Curtis, is going to petition the ancients,
which I guess are like they like oversee like this government that oversees everything else.
There seem to be some like it's very much like a Star Trek style, like the ancients are these like weird race of aliens that are the forebearers or so. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Like they would have effectively in Star Trek terms, this would be somebody who has oversight over even the Federation.
I wouldn't even say that. To me, it almost feels like this specific culture, this is like their gods or something, is what it felt like to me almost. They almost feel like not the same kind of thing. You know what I mean?
They do seem like they don't have like bodies or anything. Like they're beings of pure energy.
And he goes to talk to them. He like travels through like a wormhole or something to get there. I don't know. But I love as he's walking to that wormhole on the space station, we see some guards and I don't know what year this is, but I guess it's happening current time.
Like, this was made in 97.
Yeah, and initially we aren't sure when like this sci-fi story we're seeing is supposed to be taking place, but we will find out it's essentially current time because he goes to Earth. But these guards on this space station far, far away have European medieval halberds as their weapons.
Yes. Well, like their castle that they live in is like the medieval like European style castle.
Oh well, the fort he goes to. Yes, eventually after he leaves the space station or whatever they're on after this. Yeah, but I was dying, and then because they're just in armor and they have halberds. I'm like, okay, and then so he goes and he talks to the ancients, and he needs their permission basically to go attack to take down Lugos. I don't know.
Let me end the threat. Here and now.
Because he says Lugos is attacking our people, and so he's like talking to the ancients to either get permission to fight back or to get their help or something like that. And they're like, sure, whatever. And also, meanwhile, we've been introduced to Lugos at this point. He shows up to start attacking the space station.
Yes.
And
it's so
this
good.
Very poor Darth Vader ripoff. Yes. He's doing the voice. He is doing the James Earl Jones voice, like pretty close. He doesn't have the breathing apparatus thing going on.
Nothing can stop me now.
But they're very clearly going for like a Darth Vader style character here. Not so much when we actually see his face. We'll get to that in a second. But from a distance, he's like this big cloaked, intimidating figure. But anyway, so he's attacking them, and then we get some great space fight of the lasers.
Oh my! Just shooting, and it looks so bad,
so terrible. And he's like, "You can never penetrate the star field." I think Tony Curtis yells that. It's incredible.
You can never penetrate the star shield around our planet.
But it's just a bunch of marbles shooting lasers at each other. And then I guess Lugos like teleports away or something because they surround him. The ancients surround him. The little triangles that I think are the ancients or whatever.
Those dude, everything about this film is like triangles.
It is.
In some
it's
way.
Very triangle centric for some reason. I don't know what that is about. But these triangles surround Lugos' ship. And they go to shoot him and he teleports away and disappears. Yes. And the thing that cracked me up is right after that happens, King Findle says,
I offered him mercy, and he responds with trickery.
I offered him mercy, and he responds with trickery? I'm like, did you offer him mercy? Because the ancients looked like they tried to shoot and destroy him.
I mean, you all look like you're aiming for mutually assured destruction.
Yeah, it looks like you're just trying to kill each other, but okay. Then the kid, whose name is Varric, like I said, he says that in the voiceover, he says he gets sent to a fort for protection to hide or something on some nearby planet.
Like that, yeah.
I was sent to a fort on a nearby planet.
We could jump down, and like you said, this is a castle from.
This is just everything about this reeks Ren Fair, like this hosted a Ren Fair at some point.
Yeah, I think this is just a historical site. I think this is literally just like a historical site in Europe. But
also, the costume design does not help.
Oh my god, the costumes. We jumped down again. This is a spacefaring civilization. Yes. All of the guards are in this medieval castle, are wearing Spirit Halloween barbarian costumes. like exactly. Yes. It's insane. I love it so much. Good. Oh my god. Also, it was driving me crazy. Anytime Lugos does anything on his ship in this opening shot, he has a glass tube finger. Yeah, what and he like touches the console, but it's the same shot every single time.
What is it about I was gonna say the future, but what is it about this advanced technology where everything is made out of like acrylic?
Plexiglass? Yeah. Acrylic? I don't know, because that was another thing. So we have these spirit-ass Halloween barbarians, and they're all using, like, plexiglass acrylic bazookas or something.
And they're like, and they shoot little rays. They shoot little rays at each other. And
it's so stupid. It is the epitome of, like, okay, let's create this really cool universe, like sci-fi fantasy universe, you know, kind of like Star Wars, but, like, our art director is like an idiot and has no idea. It's just so clumsy and stupid. Oh my god.
Planet called Outerscon. We have a space star shield that protects our planet.
But he immediately just finds the prince. Like they sent me to this fort for protection, and Lugos just shows up immediately. He's like, found you.
Plot needs me too.
Yeah, and I love so he comes out. Also, he sends down his stormtroopers. Which just
the helmets on them look ridiculous.
They have these gigantic bucket heads.
Yes.
They look like fucking like Roblox characters or something.
They remind me of like the early versions of like the Cybermen from like the 80s Doctor Who.
Yes, absolutely. But you can tell they were going for like a stormtrooper thing because it has like the cheek things kind of that stormtrooper helmets have a little bit, and like the triangle view. It's like, okay, copy my homework, but don't make it too obvious, and also make it way worse. Like make it way like it's just way worse. But they teleport down there and they start like killing all the barbarian guards or whatever, and then Lugos teleports down and just I love Varric just comes out and stands there
defiantly,
dressed as like a 17th century Italian fancy lad. I don't know what. This guy. And actually, once I saw it closer, it's kind of interesting. They combined almost like Renaissance clothes with almost like an indigenous, like kind of Native American stuff. There's like some interesting, like, it's not as bad as I first thought, because at first I saw like a ruffled collar and I'm like, why is he a little prince from like the 17th century? What is happening? But anyways, then we see Lugos, and it's up until this point.
This is where we get a close up.
Yes. And then face, and
it's like that. It's like globby latex mask. It looks so bad. There's like hoses and stuff as well.
It's clearly like, it looks like they designed an alien face that kind of looked like a fly or something. Like he has like these fly eyes,
these compound eyes.
Yeah, and so it looked like they went for that, and then they accidentally tripped and dropped the latex mask into a pizza oven, and it just like boiled.
It's also like cracking in certain spots too. It's falling apart.
Yes, and it looks like it's been melting. Like they left it in the sun for a week or something, like in the desert, and then they came back. It looks so bad. All I can think is, what's wrong with your face? Like over and over.
What's wrong with your face?
Yeah.
Oh my God! What's wrong with your face?
So stupid. Anyway, so then he performs a clever ruse. The prince does, where he it's a hologram.
Yes.
Like him standing there is a hologram, and then he's actually getting on a spaceship to fly away.
Failed his will save.
Yeah.
More D&D references.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So Lugos comes over and is like, I got you now, you idiot boy, and then realizes he's a hologram. Meanwhile,
he's doing the worst job at fleeing danger.
He's like, and my favorite thing is he's like voice commanding the spaceship.
And this is the first time we are introduced to the AI of this ship with zero explanation. It's a fucking clown.
An Earth clown, Kyle. It is a human being face in clown makeup.
I had to stop the video and get up for a second.
I was like, wait, what is happening, Kyle? Why is it a clown that is the like you said, the AI that is flying this? It is the computer. Like it is like, and it's insane. It's a fucking clown.
Look out for that fort. Go left, no right, no up.
was like, why is there a clown? Also, he's terrible at flying because he's constantly giving contradictory instructions where he's like, left, right, now, no, down, up.
Go left, no, right, no, up. Go up, go down, go up.
Down, and it's like,
and the ship is like very much struggling to get anywhere.
Yes, it's incredible. Also, the two lady barbarians who came
they
out
just stand there, don't do anything,
and let themselves get killed.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess he just sacrificed those two.
Curses, he ran away. Stab.
Yeah, I also feel like we really linger on the shot of the stomach of one of them in a way that made me uncomfortable. When he goes to like zap her in the stomach, I'm like, why are we watching that so close?
Director's like this is a kid's film, but I need to have a little fun.
Just like, let's just really linger on that shot of her stomach where he zaps it with electricity. No, that's not my thing. Who said it's my thing?
All right, we're gonna hold. Hang on, hold.
A little bit longer.
Okay,
almost
no.
there. I mean, the shot's almost there. Oh, Jesus Christ. Like, this is where I said, we're 9 minutes in at this point. I had already written an entire page of notes. Now, I will say, luckily, it balances out and I don't have that many notes.
Once we hit Earth and things start,
it slows down a little bit. It gets a little more boring, but this opening was just wild. So then the prince has the genius idea to head to Earth.
I got an idea. Set course to planet Earth.
Sure.
He's like, we got to get out of here.
It's a planet we like.
Earth. Let's go to Earth. So they zap away to Earth. Then we cut over to Earth, and we're introduced to Brian. Another fucking movie with a character named Brian, where characters will yell Brian like nonstop throughout the whole fucking movie.
Brian, put the video game down and get ready now, okay?
But the two important things about Brian: loves video games.
Yes.
Has diabetes. That's it.
That are his defining characteristics.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the game he's playing on his, I guess, like, what game thing is that he have?
Well, at this point, later he has a Sega Game Gear.
Yeah, later he has a Sega Game Gear.
Yeah, I don't know what he's playing right
now. He's playing
now.
Doom on.
Was he?
Yeah, I don't know what device this is he's playing on.
I have no idea.
But he's playing a PC game on whatever this is.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Doom had other ports.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. But anyway, so he's playing video games. His dad is very annoyed at him. He wants him to go outside. You know, classic, like, hey, you play too many video games. Go outside. Also, Brian hates taking his insulin. He's like, this stupid poison. And he's like, well, his dad's like, it's not poison for you, idiot. I think that's later, but whatever.
You try sticking a needle full of poison in yourself. I get all the reality I need, Dad.
It's not poison to you, son.
So then they're going camping. So they drive out. They're heading out to go camping. And a little detail that I thought was very funny is they arrive and we see them grilling, and then it cuts to a wide, and they just have a grill on the beach by itself. Nothing else. It's just the car and their grill. And there's not a tent. There's not a table. There's not a chair. There's nothing. They're just standing there grilling. I was like, what is happening? But a bear shows up.
Yeah, it's like Bart the Bear, right?
Yeah. Oh,
there's a well-known.
There is a very famous bear.
Yeah, there's a very famous bear that they.
I didn't look at the credits to see if that's who this was, though.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Probably, yeah.
He works for Marshmallows.
There you go. But he's like being a little shit and wants to play his video games, and he's like walking off into the woods to go play video games, and then the bear shows up and gets between them, and then chases him into the woods, and he drops his Game Gear. Oh no! And I think the Game Gear actually causes it to chase him. It like
and by the way,
at him.
I noticed what game he had, and I fucking have that game.
What is it?
It's Mortal Kombat for the Game Gear, baby.
Oh, nice. I thought because he was playing Sonic at one point, wasn't he?
I think so.
But I could have sworn I remember
the one I saw
Sonic.
whenever he was there was Sega. I can't remember if this was when he was in the car or not, but I could tell like it had the red logo on it. I was like, ooh, I know that game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the shot in the car he's playing Sonic, but I think you're right that later it's a different game. But anyways, so he gets chased in the woods by the bear. The dad goes after him. His dad goes after him, and then he has the mom go get like the park ranger. Or whatever. He's like, go get the park ranger. And I love she pulls up at the park ranger post, and the guy walks out. I was like, is this fucking Sheriff Hopper? I thought it was David Harbour.
This is the only other recognizable actor in this film.
Is he from something?
Darby Hinton. He's like in a bunch of stuff from like the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
And it's like a lot of indie stuff.
Yeah. Once we see him closer up, I was like, oh, this guy does look vaguely familiar. But initially, that first wide, he's got the brown shirt. I thought it was David Harbour. I thought it was a young David Harbour. And I was like, if this fucking hopper. That's being incredible. But then, so he's running. Then we cut back. She's got the park ranger for help now. We cut back. He's running through the woods, and he's getting chased by this bear. And this is when Varric shows up.
Just out of the blue.
Just pops up. He's like, surprise. Yep. And he's got a little magic watch, Kyle, that he operates by going like this. But he doesn't move it. He very explicitly only moves his like his hand holds still and his finger goes. It's very weird. But he's like, and it shoots out a hologram stop motion Tyrannosaurus Rex.
It's so good. Brian, you told me the second you saw this, you were like, I am in.
We were looking through, I was scrolling through the movie, and I got to a point where I saw a bear squaring off with a stop-motion T-Rex, and I was like, fuck yeah, man. I don't care. We're watching this fucking movie. But it scares the bear away, this giant T-Rex. And then Brian kind of stumbles into Varric, this prince, who is mute at this point. He's not talking.
Do you speak English? Can you understand me at all? Do you talk?
And I think these two kids are real life siblings. If you look at the credits, the two actors playing these roles are like Travis and Trevor Parker, or so they have like the same last name and very similar first names. So I think they're actually siblings, I would imagine. But so he's following, and the kids just like, come with me, and he's like, okay, and he just follows this mute kid into the woods. He's like, okay. Sure. And then they stumble upon a
limestone basement,
like a house, like a ruined house or cabin or something in the middle of the woods. And they go spend the night there because it's nighttime now. Brian is still taking his insulin. He has enough for a couple days or something in his backpack that he had. And they're like getting to know each other, and he drinks some. I thought he gave him like whiskey or something. It looks like alcohol.
They're like, it's some sort of weird like juice.
Yeah. Hey, this is pretty good. What kind of juice is this?
But yeah, no, it looked 100%
like
like, oh, here's a little bourbon.
Yeah, it's been a long day. You need a drink, and he's like, all right, sure. But then he has some crackers, and he goes to bed holding the crackers by his head like a weirdo. But anyways, then I don't know if you noticed that he falls asleep. I'm pretty sure he takes a bite out of that cookie thing, and then like lays down with it in his hand to sleep, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyways, so then the next day they wake up.
Did the ranger come by that night searching? Or was that
Does the ranger come by?
Because like there's a part where the ranger is like searching for them, and he comes down into the basement and shines the flashlight, and the kid puts up an illusionary wall. Oh, you missed this part. Okay. Yeah. So,
wait,
what? The kid's trying to hide. I guess like.
Wait, what platform did you watch this on? Did you watch it on YouTube?
Yeah.
That's the one I watched. Because it's also on Tubi. I must have blacked out.
Probably.
I don't know what. I do not remember this at
all. I mean, if you want to understand it from the I'm an alien on this planet perspective, I don't know anybody, so I'm going to hide from everybody.
Yeah.
But the ranger he's down in the limestone basement. He puts up an illusionary wall, and he like doesn't see anything. He's yelling for Brian's name, and Brian is just sound asleep. Doesn't wake up during any of this, and then they just leave.
Fantastic.
Brian?
I remember I walked into the kitchen to get coffee.
There we go.
And here's the thing. I remember, and I had my headphones on. I remember hearing them calling Brian's name, and assumed it was just like them in the woods, like yelling. And I think I missed that moment in the movie. Anyways, yeah. So but then he lays down, and then he wakes up the next morning. Oh, and then now he can understand him now. Yeah. He can talk because his little watch has heard enough human voice language.
Yeah,
I guess
it's doing translating. It's like the Babel fish in Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah.
No, I don't really speak English. That's my watch. It's doing automatic translation.
It picks up enough that he can now talk and speak English or whatever. And then I think this is when he gives him the crackers. I don't know. Anyways, he has a cracker at some point.
Space cracker.
Because the kid's like, is there sugar in this?
Does it have sugar in it? I can't eat any sugar. I have to be careful.
No sugar. All natural.
And the guy and
nope,
Varric says
100% natural.
He says no sugar, all natural. I was like, sugar is natural, you fucks. Anyways.
Also, how do you know what sugar is, alien kid?
Yes. I just no sugar, all natural. Sugar's a natural thing. Whatever, fine.
Glucose.
What you mean is not like added sugar, I guess. Whatever, whatever. Anyways, just make me lose my mind. Sugar is natural, you fucks. Also, so then they're going through the woods, and then Brian falls down a hill,
like
just out of nowhere. He just trips and falls down a fucking
down a hill like maybe 20 feet.
Yes,
it's the most like
anticlimactic. He's just like, all right.
It's the most I've been inconvenienced by going down this hill.
It's the moment from Lord of the Rings when they fall down the hill and find mushrooms, and like at the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring, it's a detour to mushrooms or whatever.
Shortcut to what?
Mushrooms.
But he has cut his hand off.
Just rips it off.
Yeah, just like a big old gash in his hand. And good news, Varric has magic healing.
He's got Neil Breen powers, baby.
Yes, he actually does. Well, and his dad does later. We'll get to that. Well, I think that is the exact fucking note I have in my thing. Is
like
that.
This is the species of alien that Neil Breen is.
Absolutely, it is.
You are now free of PTSD.
Thank you for freeing me.
But he heals his hand. He's like,
just
sick.
Wipes his hand over and just right there they have a cut.
Yes,
and they just clean it all up.
Look,
it's gone.
He also very conveniently has a plot summary device on his wristwatch where Brian is like, "What? Who are you? What's going on?" And he hits a button on his wristwatch, and a hologram of his dad pops up and is like, "Let me explain the plot to you."
Always signs of a good movie is when we had to take a moment. It's like, whoa. I had this moment of God, what was that Transform? Was it Age of
It was
Extinction?
one of the ones, yeah.
It was one of the
first things we ever talked about together on our failed podcast.
In that scene, there's a film where one of the little robots who just joined the crew is like, whoa.
So
let's take a moment, and you're telling me this plot point and this plot point, and we got to do this?
I'm going to warn you now, Kyle, you're editing this episode. I have tried to find that scene, and unless you go find the movie and like search through, it's not on YouTube. Okay. I have looked on that set for that scene on YouTube, and I can't find it.
It's just like the biggest evidence of bad writing.
It's so terrible. It's so terrible.
He wants to detonate that seed in the biggest city and kill millions.
But yeah, his dad explains the plot again, just in case we forgot.
You are in the presence of my grandson, Prince Farouk, and it means that my grandson is in imminent danger.
And then he explains, the prince does, because he's been telling him, "Oh, my name's Kirk." And he's like, "Oh, okay." But his name's actually Varric. And then he explains that he's been having him call him Kirk because that's the name of his favorite character from his favorite TV show.
Exactly.
I got my name from my favorite TV show, Star Trek, Captain Kirk.
Star Trek.
It's like in Futurama where that being of pure energy is like, "We've been receiving your ancient transmissions for the past couple of years."
Yeah.
And it just happens to be Star Trek.
Yeah, it's exactly. He's like, "Hey, we actually have been receiving your TV, and I love Star Trek. It's awesome." So he's been calling himself Kirk. He pulls up, this drove me crazy. He pulls up the little stop motion monster thing again, but now there's like a T-Rex and like a kind of like a hybrid between like King Kong and like Godzilla kind of. It's like a weird lizardy monster beast thing. Anyways, and they're like fighting each other. And Brian's like, "Oh, is it a game?" And he's like, "Yeah, they just do whatever you do.
You just pick a character and they do what you do."
And then they proceed to show that that's not remotely the case because they're not even remotely doing what the kids are doing. It's so stupid. So they wrestle with that for a few minutes and they're like, "That's enough of that." The scene just like very abruptly ends. And then we jump forward and we get to the ship. He's taking him to his ship.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, my ship is here." And he uncloaks his ship or whatever, and they get on. And this is where we're reintroduced to the
God, that thing's so creepy.
But he explains, and it at least makes somewhat sense, that it's not just always a clown. This computer will be whatever you
it can be a lawyer or a military mind if you need.
Yes.
When my mom needs him, he'll turn into a lawyer. Show him, Happy.
Sure.
All of them, though, are vague, like, references and impersonations of Earth-based media.
Yes.
Because it's like General Patton when he's a thing. Yeah. The clown, he's just doing Robin Williams. Mm-hmm. He is doing a Robin Williams impression. I am very confident.
Yes, cool can also be hot. Opposite of cold. Cold is cool. Cool is cool. Cool is hot. Hot. Cool is cool. Neat. Cool.
The lawyer, I don't think is anything very specific, but then he does
handle the truth.
Yes, he does a very terrible De Niro.
Yes,
a terrible De Niro. It's so bad.
You talking to me?
De Niro is not that hard, and he does an awful job.
Are you talking to me? You talking to me?
I thought maybe that was the joke that he does a bad De Niro. Also, fun fact, did you realize this? The guy who plays the computer in this, Happy is the name of the clown, but I don't know if that's the name of the robot.
I wouldn't surprise me if it was the writer and director.
It is not. It is a guy who's very well known for his voice work. His name's Darren Norris. Does that name ring a bell at all? The thing he's most known for, he's been in a ton of stuff. The thing he's most known for, he is Cosmo in The Fairly Odd Parents.
That's funny.
But he's in a bunch of stuff. Like he has like hundreds of voice acting credits or something like that. But yeah, Cosmo in The Fairly Odd Parents is like his big one where he was like the whole run of the show. He was one of the main characters. Nice. So, which I never really watched Fairly Odd Parents, but I'm aware of it. So anyways, but that is it. And I was, when I saw that, I was like, you're telling me a guy who's a professional voice actor, that's how good his De Niro impression is? That's rough. That is rough. Ooh, yeah. Anyways, Lugos shows up and attacks him from outer space. His ship pulls into orbit and he's like blasting lasers.
He's back from outer space?
Yeah. And just got in and whatever the lyrics of that song are. No, I'm sorry.
Because they don't do a good job at surviving.
There you go.
So he starts blasting the ship.
And they've already left and they're going somewhere. But then they start getting... This makes no... What is happening here?
There's like...
He's blasting their ship and the laser is
shield
turning
technology
into... Yes.
Is like dispersing the blast into such a way that it is destroying the surrounding area.
But also like sucking them in. It like, because they start getting sucked in to like the laser blasts and they're like holding on to trees to not blow away. I don't know what, I don't understand.
The scene looks ridiculous.
It looks ridiculous. And they have to ask the goddamn computer like a dozen times
it's so dumb.
To turn the shields off.
I'm sorry, Prince. I can't quite hear you. What was it you wanted?
We need to pad out this film.
Oh my God, it goes on forever and it's so annoying because the whole time it's just like nonstop laser blasts in the background. And he's like, what do you want me to do? I can't hear. I'm like, I'm going to fucking lose it. I'm going to fucking use it.
But there was one point where the ship was like, you're kidding me, right? You want me to turn off this shield so I can get shot and explode?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he does. He turns it off and he fucking explodes. It's incredible. So now Happy is dead. Not really. Spoilers.
He's
a fucking computer. He's just in a different place now.
Oh, it'll be okay. It's just a computer, right?
But then so they are able to, they don't have a spaceship now, so they're going off in another somewhere else. I don't remember where they're trying to get to now. But they're kind of talking as they go, and Prince Varric Kirk explains that Earth has the gift, and he explains what the gift is, which is just that people care about other people. And I was like,
your society kind of seems like they do that too.
That was my exact note. I was like, well, your grandpa is coming to find you because he cares about you.
He's also like defying the
orders of the ancients or whatever to go do this because it's like intergalactic travel is out against the rules or whatever. Yeah.
Interplanetary travel is forbidden.
Are you afraid?
Of course not, Your Majesty.
And the movie realizes this, and I just don't understand the point of this because he makes it initially sound like it's this very unique, special thing to Earth. Spoilers: the end of the movie, they're like, "Oh, everybody has the gift."
All beings throughout the galaxy have the gift.
What was okay?
The gift was in all of us all along.
I guess that is what they're going for, but it's just so dumb. And then they're walking through the woods, and then he sends down Logo sends down some more stormtroopers. Yes. And I love there's this incredible scene where they're walking and Brian's like, well, they can't find us, can they? Because there's only 7 of them and like, it's big woods or whatever. And Kirk's like, I don't know. And he's like, well, what about this other thing? And can they do this? And he's like, I don't know. Well, where do they come from? I don't know. And then all of a sudden Kirk just looks over and goes, uh-oh. And then the camera pans over and the fucking stormtroopers are just standing there. He's just standing there.
I think we lost him.
It's incredible. So then they run off, and then Kirk Varric pulls out a little like
an Altoids container.
I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, exactly. Like an Altoids container. Opens it and puts this little gold pyramid thingy in it.
Okay, these are like These are probably the most interesting.
It is really
technology-wise
interesting,
in here,
yes.
But they're all like weirdly specific.
Yes, I didn't understand what it was because he puts the thing in
Also,
there.
how would you know which is which? Because they all look the same.
He doesn't. That's what he's saying. I'm not sure. Well, he does say that I guess he knows what some of them are, but they do all look at whatever. Maybe there's whatever. Yeah.
I got 3 more after this one, but they're my mom, so I don't know what they're gonna become.
But so he puts these things in there, and then it summons like an item. Basically, it's like an inventory.
It reminds me of the capsules from the Dragon Ball show.
Oh, yeah.
Like they had just condensed space down.
Essentially, yeah. It's like little, whatever he puts down, it will then like pop it up and you can grab it, like whatever the item is. But at first I didn't realize, because he puts it down and the thing goes, "What is your wish?" And he says, like something in like whatever his language is. He says like something.
What is your wish?
20 crowlines.
And it turns out what he's saying is a measurement, like a unit of size, because I thought he was asking for a specific thing.
It has like a quantity of something. He just needs whatever that length of that quantity or
that a size of that thing. And then because then it spits out a hand mirror, and I was like, is that what he asked for? What? Why would he ask for
also,
a hand mirror?
Huge.
Well, not initially. No. Initially, it's tiny. Yeah. It's like a normal size hand mirror, and I was like, oh, okay. He was saying the size it was, and then Brian's like, I got an idea. We need that mirror bigger, and he's like, oh, okay. And then it cuts, and he's got a fucking mirror the size of a car, and he's like wheeling around, but. I was like, okay, so this thing summons items or whatever, and we'll see that. And that, like, I agree, that was kind of interesting.
It is from the technology that is shown throughout the film. Yeah. From this alien race, that is probably the most interesting.
It's the most unique for sure, and like, yeah, definitely interesting. Everything else is like blasters and whatever.
They trick one of the robot.
The Roblox stormtroopers.
They trick him into shooting the mirror and it fires back at him.
Yeah, it's like,
I guess that's how that works.
Sure, why not? Amazing. Then they summon a magic sentient rope named Kunza.
Yeah, yep.
Which I thought was amazing. And I thought that scene was actually pretty fun. This is when the movie is kind of at its best.
Kunza, make like a snake in the grass. Hide yourself.
Is they like have this rope and he's talking to it and it's like a snake like responding to him and he has it like slither and then he's like, okay, now razors, and they're getting chased through the woods. Yeah,
it fucking decapitates them.
He's like, okay, turn in thin and sharp like a razor wire. Now raise 3 feet or whatever, and it goes zoom and it cuts their fucking heads off. I was disappointed we don't see the decapitation. We see them get hit and like clothesline,
and the aftermath,
and then afterwards we see their heads on the ground. But also, don't worry, it's okay. This is still a kids movie. They're robots.
Yeah, they're robots. They're
robots.
Little electricity things, not blood.
Yeah, they're not people. That's fine. Just cut their heads off. They definitely don't have consciousness or anything. It's fine. You can murder them at will. So then they're still being chased through the woods, and I love they climb a tree.
This part was like blew my mind. Okay, so he takes the prism, the little pyramid thing, and puts it into his mouth and starts chewing it
like gum. Yeah.
When they started doing that, it's like, okay, this might work for Varuk, the alien kid who this stuff is designed for.
Right.
Then Brian sticks it in his mouth and does the same thing. I'm like, dude, do you realize how much radiation you are ingesting right now?
Yeah.
Like, diabetes is going to be your least concern by the end of this.
Your tongue is going to fall off tomorrow. Yeah. But I love it because Varric's like, don't swallow. And he's like, don't swallow it? Oh, don't worry. I haven't swallowed my gum in years or whatever. And he's like, no.
Don't even swallow your, what's it called? Yeah, spit.
Don't even swallow your spit or else it'll kill you. Or no, actually it'll give you diarrhea. It'll give you the squirts if you swallow this. Is what he says. It's incredible.
You get real sick and you have whatchamacallit, or you'd have to go to the bathroom all the time.
But then they just spit. He says this is a special technique that like you're not supposed to do with these things, but you can, I guess.
Which just tells me that it's like this is a source of power, a source of energy that is in these things, and you're just spitting this like raw energy onto these guys.
Exactly, because they spit electricity out of their mouths and it like short circuits the robots or whatever and like takes them down. It's pretty great. And then and every time they kill some of these robots, Lugos like teleports them back up to the ship or whatever.
And every time this teleporter happens, there's like an explosion.
Yes. And that's the effect. Not only the sound effect, but the visual effect in the thing is like an explosion. It's like and it teleports things away. But then Lugos teleports down himself. He's going to handle this himself. And I love as he arrives, he gives his most James Earl Jones delivery possible. He's like,
You may find me not as easy to trick,
my young prince. But like it's just Darth Vader. He's just doing Darth Vader without the breathing apparatus,
which is weird because he has like breathing tubes and stuff.
Yeah, it's very, very funny. But then they pull out another one of the pyramids that they don't know, that Varric doesn't know what it does. He's like, I don't know what this one does, and they summons a little acrylic thing that
looks so weird.
It looks ridiculous, but he's like, oh, it's a weapon. It's basically like a gun. And Brian's like, well, how do we use it? And he's like, well, you can't because it's password protected.
Every weapon has a password.
Oh, do you know your mom's password?
No.
and
it's like the smart guns from like Shoot 'em Up.
Yeah. And then Brian's like, well, what is your mom's password? Don't you know? And he's like, no, I don't know. And Brian's like, well, my mom uses my name for her password for stuff like
Nice to know that you can get into all your mom's shit.
Yeah, right. It's like he's just going in the bank account. Maybe that's how he has his Sega. He has why he's able to have a fucking Sega Game Gear, because he's using his mom's credit cards and stuff.
My mom always uses my name for stuff like this. Try your name.
But he's like, they're running away from these things, and he wants to shoot the gun. And Varric's like, well, she calls me. He says Kirk initially, and obviously that's not your name, you fucking idiot. And he's like, she calls me Varric the Magnificent.
I would have liked a real eye roll moment where he's like,
oh, okay, sure,
Varric the Magnificent. And
no, but it starts working, and he blasts the two guys.
Rook the Magnificent.
We must destroy the alien.
It's incredible. And then meanwhile, we see Lugos again, and I cannot get over his face. You know what he reminded me of? He looks, and I don't know if you remember this show. There was a show on Nickelodeon called Kablam. Do you remember Kablam?
I do.
It was like a variety show that had multiple different like cartoons and stuff on it. One of the shows on that show was called Action League Now.
Yes,
that were like action figures that like
was
did
he
stuff.
was one of the villains in it, right?
One of the no, he was a good guy, I think. Okay. One of the good guys' name was Meltman.
Yes. Oh God. Now I'm remembering.
And my favorite thing,
because like Action League Now was supposed to be like the adventures of a kid's imagination.
Yes, basically.
And Meltman was the one that he melted with like a magnifying glass in the sun.
But they still used as like he was still, but like every time you saw him, his like limbs were melting off and stuff like that. And I love the voiceover.
Meltman sounds like a one of those like late He-Man editions.
Yes. And during the opening credits for the show, every time the opening title song, they would Action League Now, and he'd go through all the characters. And when he get to Meltman, he'd go, and Meltman with the power to melt. And it just cuts to Meltman like,
oh God, no, I'm dying.
It's great. But his face looks like fucking Meltman is what he looks like.
Meltman with the power to melt.
Then Lugos possesses Sheriff Hopper. He just like zaps into his stomach. And over him.
The scene of him coming in and going out is just kind of creepy.
The scene coming out for sure. He's like, and like pukes out this fucking dude. But he has taken over Sheriff Hopper now. Then they get cornered by another one of the Roblox stormtroopers, but surprise, the bear shows up and just mauls
and
him.
the bear is duking it out with this robot.
Yes,
and then. Unlike the rest of them, because this robot's still functioning.
He's still functioning. He's still like fighting the bear. Yeah.
And although the other times they've been teleported is after they've been
like dead or destroyed or whatever. Yeah.
But this one just gets zapped up, and the bear with it. And I'm like, that bear is dead or something we're gonna theorize later.
Yes.
But like.
Not even later. We can theorize it now. I was hoping that bear, because it doesn't happen, so we're going to say now, that the bear was going to, when they were going to get up to the spaceship later, that bear was going to come out of nowhere on the spaceship and just wreck shit on this spaceship. Would have been incredible. That's such a good ending.
It would have been great.
It's such a good ending. And I actually wonder if that's maybe what they wanted to do.
They just didn't have the budget for it.
They couldn't bring the bear to like the studio where they were shooting all the green screen spaceship stuff or something. Yeah, and then couldn't do it because it makes so much sense. It would be so great if the bear just showed up and was like, fuck.
But a point they keep making about these teleportation things is like, you don't want to touch it because
it'll zap you up too. Yeah.
Well, not just that, it'll zap you up too. Like, it can be dangerous if it's not calibrated right or something.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Yeah. And so I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure that's just for that robot. I'm sure that bear, just like in a Galaxy Quest, when it gets ported up like inside out.
He's like, is this a pile of goo on the teleporter platform at this point? Yeah, that's probably what happened, but I still would have loved to see that bear just go and fucking ape shit on a spaceship. It would have been amazing. Anyway, so then surprise, or they're reunited. Like his parents who have been looking for him this whole time with everybody. They have search parties out everywhere. They finally find them, and they're reunited with his parents. And I was like, there's still 20 minutes left in this movie.
Like, what's going on
here?
What's
going to happen here? But Sheriff Hopper takes Brian, because Sheriff Hopper again is in.
They're trying to find Kirk's parents.
Yes, and so he takes him and buckles him into his Jeep. And drives away with them.
He also fucking slaps the kid.
Well, that's later while they're driving. Yeah, he slaps the shit out of the kid.
I know exactly who you are.
But he drives away, and Brian's like, something's not right. I don't know. Something's not right here. And Brian's like, I gotta go after him. And he grabs his insulin needle.
Yes.
And puts it in his shirt pocket, like without a protective covering on it or anything. Like,
what is going on?
Stab yourself with your own insulin needle.
But he steals the van.
Yes, he steals his parents' van.
And also, this is my advice to parents out there. If you want a foolproof way to stop your kids from stealing a vehicle, manual transmission.
That's true, yeah. I mean,
they'll destroy your vehicle, but they're not going to take it on the highway.
Destroy your transmission, but yeah, it's fine. Who cares? They won't drive away with it for sure. But he's able to he chases after him, and he finds it pulled over on the side of the road because there's like a special transporter spot that Lugos has been coming up.
Yeah, it's like there's like 3 of those pyramids. Yeah, once again, the pyramids are everything in this.
Yeah, well, and they explain.
They actually did explain that.
There's a line earlier where fucking Varric is like, "Oh, did you guys note all the pyramids we left here?"
Yeah, you guys, we left that there as a message, and you guys didn't respond. We thought you were just assholes.
Yeah,
we put pyramids all over Earth with a message for peace.
Oh, we thought the ancient Egyptians did that.
And I love he's like, we left it as a message of peace, and it's like, but they're just that's a terrible message. You guys left the bad message. It's not a decipherable message. What are you fucking talking about? He goes to he finds them, and he's gonna head over to the teleporter and to stop him. Meanwhile, his parents have been like trying to catch up with them, and this random old man, and I believe this random old man driving the van is the writer director.
Okay,
I believe.
I thought it was that or a producer or something, but
it could be. I'm pretty sure he's the writer director.
By the way, I guess we didn't ever even brought this up. This entire film is 80 yard. Poor.
Oh yes.
And this is where some of it gets really bad.
Yes, it's very bad. In particular, here in a few minutes.
Gotta stop.
Stop!
Stop, please! Stop! Stop, please! Stop!
Need your help!
But anyway, so this guy picks up his parents and they follow him, and then I love they get to the point where both the sheriff's car, or the park ranger's Jeep, and where their minivan is, and they're like, oh, they must have went into the woods here, and so they're like, let's go, and the dad turns to this random stranger, is like, come on, and the guy's like, okay. And just follows him into the woods. It's incredible.
He went into the woods over here.
Come with us, please. Sure.
And that's where that guy was killed and never heard from again.
Yes. Meanwhile, Lugos is about to teleport Varric up to the ship.
He also like shoots out of the park ranger's mouth.
Oh yes, you're right. Yeah, sorry. At this point, he has now left the park ranger's body.
Some very glorious like special effects.
Yeah, and then that park ranger's just laying on the ground like, oh fuck, that was fucking weird. And then Brian is trying to find him to stop him, and he starts like telepathically communicating.
Like,
with him.
Yeah, it's like some mind melding stuff.
He's like, "Let me help you, Kirk," and I love it. He goes, "Let me use the gift." And that's the exact delivery. Let me use the gift.
Let me help you, Kirk. Let me use the gift.
So stupid. I love it. Oh god. And then I love they get down to the teleporter, and Brian like runs over and he's trying to like do something, and then his parents show up and they're also watching with the guy, and the guy sees the fucking aliens and shit and goes, I'm out of here. And
yes, the only logical response in that situation.
Yeah, he's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. This is insane.
I'm out of here.
Brian?
Oh God. And then so Brian runs in and he gets and grabs hold of Varric, and then also they all get teleported up to Lugos' ship. And in the most anticlimactic final showdown,
he's like
ever.
giving some sort of spiel how he's gonna use Varuk to be like, I'm gonna take over your kingdom and then the galaxy.
Yes.
I shall rule the galaxy.
And Brian's like, fuck you, insulin.
That would have been a better line than he delivers, because in the movie, the guy, Lugos, goes, I will rule the galaxy. And Brian goes,
Maybe not.
maybe not, and stabs him with the insulin needle. He says, maybe not.
Oh, God.
And stabs him with the insulin needle.
How many fucking films have you seen where somebody's killed with insulin?
None, I think. No, didn't that happen in Knives Out? I think in Knives Out, somebody might have got killed with insulin, but I could be wrong. Anyways, it's been a while since I've seen it. But yeah, other than that, almost none. Then so that he's able to stab him, and then they're able to he creates a hologram of Lugos to be able to teleport them back down to Earth.
Yes.
They arrive back down to Earth, and then surprise, Tony Curtis shows up just in time. And then he teleports down.
I so badly wanted him to try and pass himself as a human, not to freak these people out anymore.
Yeah.
And he's coming down. Oh, thank God I was here to find my grandson. I was going to take him back to our planet. I mean, Jersey. Jersey, this planet, this state that I rule. I mean, I live there. Just do a really shitty job at trying to pass it off.
It would have been great. It would have been great. But he doesn't have to do that because they're just going to VoIP their memories away, so it doesn't matter.
No one on Earth will remember anything of our visit. And that includes you too. I'm sorry, Brian.
But also, I love Tony Curtis is very decidedly not in the woods with them. Once he's there, every shot with him is on a green screen with the lake background put in, and then every time we get a reverse shot of his parents, they're actually in the woods, but those two scenes never overlap. And so I love, and this is also where the ADR, it's very apparent that they are in like a small studio.
Yes, it's like very condensed.
Yeah, you could hear like the room sound and the echo of the room and the reverb from the room, whereas they're clearly not in a giant like open field but next to a lake or whatever.
You're right about one thing, Grandpa.
What's that, son?
Some people on planet Earth have the gift.
At this point anymore.
Tony Curtis also uses his Neil Breen powers right here to cure Brian of his diabetes.
I had the note. You've just been cured of PTSD.
The chemical imbalance flowing through your body is gone forever.
He straight up grabs his shoulders and goes, you no longer have any diseases. He's like, oh.
Like everything?
Yeah, literally everything.
Does that mean I'll never be sick again?
Never.
Also, he explains that all beings throughout the galaxy have the gift.
The gift.
And I was like, oh, okay, so it's literally not just an Earth thing. Great.
All beings throughout the galaxy have the gift.
And then my favorite thing, he's like, okay, none of you are ever going to remember this. Blah, blah, blah. We're going to get out of here. You won't remember any of this. Fucking Varric runs
immediately.
No, well, hold on.
Oh,
before that, he runs up.
I'll never forget you.
But it's so
neither will I. It's like, hey, okay, that works one way, Brian. But Brian and the Brian character, but the character Brian is also like, I'm never gonna forget you either. It's like bull fucking shit, you're not.
I'll never forget you. Me neither.
And I just love that he runs up and he's like, the way he delivers that line is like a fucking serial killer. He's like, I'll never forget you into his ear, and then it's so weird. It's so weird. And then, surprise, he is gonna forget him because they're gonna alien mind wipe him or whatever.
Yep.
So then they leave, they teleport away, and then we cut now forward some indiscriminate amount of time. We are in Brian's bedroom, and I think the actor is high in this. His delivery of all of his lines
it's like,
in this scene. He's like, what's what? I'm gonna go.
Okay.
He literally goes, I'm gonna go back to bed now. At one point, and it's like,
Well, I'm going back to sleep, Kirk.
what is
Didn't
happening?
actually cure his diabetes. This is him having like diabetic
Sugar
shock.
crashing. Yeah. Oh god. But anyway, so the prince just teleports into his room and he's like, surprise, you're my best friend. And Brian's like, I don't understand what is happening right now. And then he like walks over. It's like, okay. He's like, the king needs you. And Brian's like, I guess. And just
that was this entire scene.
Yeah.
Like that was this entire movie. There was no aliens at all. Brian just was running away from the bear in the woods, and then his blood sugar dropped, and the entire thing was just
falling into a diabetic coma. And then him waking up in his room. The last scene at the end is that tracks. That actually makes sense. Oh God. But yeah, then they teleport away to go save the universe again or whatever. But I would say this movie's good bad. I would say it's good bad.
It's the special effects are so crappy.
Yes.
Honestly, the first 10 minutes alone is mind melding enough to just give you everything that you need.
It's wild. Like I said, I had my notes were 3.5 pages long. A whole page of that was the first 8 minutes of this movie. It was wild. It was nonstop at the beginning. But yeah, it was a fun little movie. That's going to do it for this episode of Good, Bad, or Bad, Bad. As always, you can do us a giant favor right over patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us there for a few bucks a month. Get access to bonus content and stuff like that. You can also do us a favor by supporting us over on TeePublic. Just search for Good, Bad, or Bad, Bad, or Quantum Physics or whatever. You can buy some merch. What?
I have been hosting some watch parties through our Discord recently, and they have been wildly fun.
There you go.
So just hop into the Discord from time to time. Keep an eye out. I'll always put out messages about that, and you guys can hop in with us and watch some crappy film that maybe not quite on par with some of the Good, Bad, or Bad, Bad stuff, but fun all the same.
There you go. Yeah, Discord link and all that is in the description below. Go look for that. I have a podcast called This Is It, where we talk about movies that are based on books. When this episode's out, our most recent episode will have been The Lorax. If you're interested in hearing what we had to say about The Lorax, go check it out. That's going to do it. Until next time, keep watching movies.
Especially Stargames.
There's not really any games in it at all, but it's still fun.
There's video games.
At the very beginning, and then never again. Name is very deceptive, but it's good. Bye.